Hi there and welcome to Real Life in Real Estate. I'm Mark Peebles, here to help you live your best life and achieve ultimate success. With my superstar co-host. Her name is Natalie Correa.
Hey, yo. Hello, I'm here. Live in action. Let's go.
That's right. Let's do this. Today is actually going to be kind of a cool show because we're going to do something very different.
Yeah.
Natalie is popping in. Sometimes I do these shows alone, but more recently I've liked to have Natalie join me. Natalie is now licensed. She's also director of engagement with our real estate brokerage. And if she's not on this side of the camera with me, she's on the other side, usually making faces at me, trying to distract me, everything else. But
honestly, I just sit there and be like, Mark, don't say that. Or
right,
you can't say that.
We're going to have to edit that out. She looks at Sarah and says, we're going to have to edit that out.
Cut that part out.
Okay, so Natalie, what are we doing today?
It's a very special episode.
Yeah.
We're going to do an episode. This is the episode. It's real life and real estate questions with Mark. Wow.
Oh, so we're talking about the podcast?
We are talking about real life real estate questions. About life, about real estate, about all the things. Going to ask you a bunch of questions. No, you cannot see them.
Right.
It is a secret.
That was the thing.
I want to hear it from the heart.
Yeah, when we decided to do this episode, she said that I would not know what the questions were that were going to be coming at me in advance. So it will be completely off the cuff. You're going to hear from my experience, my heart, my whatever.
Your life, real estate stuff, all the things.
Now, do you think in our normal time, which we usually do, 20 to 25 minutes, do you think we're going to get through 20 questions?
I don't think so. So we're going to do our best. And if not, then we'll do 2 episodes. And it's going to be great because these are all really great questions.
Okay.
Me and my AI best friend worked together on this.
Who's your AI best friend?
ChatGPT.
Oh,
you like Gemini, I like ChatGPT. But Chat and I have gone way back.
The only reason I started using Gemini, I think I still probably like ChatGPT more, but I was told for security reasons that I needed to have a subscription, and because our whole company is on the Google suite, the Google workspace or whatever, it came with our suite, and I was like, well, if it's free, we're not paying extra for it.
Makes sense.
So I don't know. I probably would like to have Chat or Grok. Have you tried Grok?
No, that sounds like too far.
Okay, well,
Too much.
I don't know.
Too much AI.
I don't know. It just sounds all exciting to me. I do like using AI. I use it as gets my brain going sometimes. So
it just helps you kind of formulate questions
but
for real life and real estate questions with Mark.
But I don't get to use it for my answers today. So
no, you don't. This is just genuine Mark Peebles.
Okay, good. Let's do it.
Okay, I want to know this. We're just going to lay the foundation. Why or what made you decide to become a real estate agent?
I didn't really decide to become a real estate agent per se. If you go all the way back to high school, my dad was in real estate. My dad today has been in real estate like 55 years. Yep. And so my whole life that I knew, my dad had been in real estate. And I'm 45 years old, by the way. So that's all I had ever known of my dad. I decided in high school when I started doing some selling for my high school radio station that I didn't want to be in real estate. And so coming out of college and getting married, I even made the comment that I never want to be in real estate. So I go into pharmaceutical sales right out of college. I was with Pfizer. And then 4 years of that, then I went to a small biotech, and I did not enjoy pharmaceutical sales. It just did not fulfill me whatsoever. And my dad came to me in 2006. It was summer of 2006. He took me to lunch. We were in Beaver Creek, Ohio. I'll never forget. And he said, son, I've built a great name in the business. I mean, he had been a top 2% agent almost his entire, or top 5% agent almost his entire career. He had been president of the Dayton Area Board of Realtors, Realtor of the Year. I mean, he had a phenomenal career up to that point and was very well known in the area. He said, I've got a great name in the business. I've got a great legacy, but I have no one to pass it on to. And so he asked me to come into real estate, and he asked me at the right time. Yeah. And so I decided that I was going to do it. And within a couple of months, I had started classes, and within a couple of months, my company that I was with cut my territory. The the company as a whole was not performing like they had expected. And so they cut my territory and it forced me in full time really quick.
Wow.
Yeah.
That fast.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, okay. When you started, right, what was the first step you actually took to start your real estate business? Not what you would take now, what you did take then.
What I did to start my business back then. So, you know, with a dad that was in the business, that was well known, he would hand off some leads to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the first thing that I did. However, my dad has always been big on his mailing list. And so early on in the business, he had me put together my mailing list, and these were the people that I started communicating with on a regular basis. I also remember doing expired listings. So I would buy expired listing leads. There's still a lot of agents that have a ton of success with this today.
Absolutely.
I will say I did not have a ton of success with it. I think I remember one, maybe two listings that I ever took off of expired listings. But crazy thing is, like, I got real good on phones. I got very comfortable talking to people. But that's what I did. I just started talking to people. My dad always told me, he said, son, you can't be a secret agent. You have to get out in front of people.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I was just in front of people. I was very active in my church. I was very active in my community. We were part of, nonprofits in the area. And all of that put me in front of people on a regular basis, and I was able to talk real estate.
Nice. That's awesome. If you could go back to your first year, what would you have done differently?
Well, the whole framework that I have now, that I teach, which we just, on this podcast, I just went through the whole marketing or relationship building framework. I would probably implement that framework earlier.
Yeah.
I would probably grow my list faster. And then I would probably, in all honesty, I wish I'd come into the business with more savings. I did not have savings. I did not have other income. Those first couple of years, they were hard. I did some decent business. I think I sold like 25 homes my first year, which is really good.
That's wild, yeah.
But I did not have a lot of savings. And when the crash happened in '08, I crashed with it.
Yeah. Wow. And you do talk about that in one of our previous episodes, which maybe we can include in the details. We can go back and find that one.
Sure.
Talking about the 2008 crash. That was pretty good. I'm not asking you about that today because I have other questions.
That's okay. What are we? Question 4?
Yeah.
Man, this is gonna be like
good.
this is gonna be like 8 episodes.
How long did it take you to get your first deal? And then how did you find it? Was it one of those expired? Was it like your dad was like, hey, here you go, just lobbed you one and you just spiked it?
Yeah, I think within 6 months, or no, I'm sorry, within 2 months, I closed my first deal. Okay. It was a for sale by owner. It was in Kettering. It was a listing. I went, I knocked on the door. I ended up talking to the owner. I talked to him enough that eventually I got the listing. And I think within 2 to 3 months was when I closed my first deal.
That's awesome.
And honestly, I mean, I've been very blessed in this business. I have closed hundreds and hundreds of transactions, over 1,000 transactions.
Wild.
Been a top 2% agent for many years. So I've done a lot of business, but I do remember that first one. And I had to earn it with that guy. You know, I was brand new agent. But honestly, I don't remember my second, third, fourth, and fifth deal.
But you remember your first.
I do. I remember my first.
That's important. Okay, cool. Now we're going to switch gears. I want to talk a little bit about like the mindset piece of this. Like, what mindset has been the most helpful for your success in real estate?
Man, that's a great question. I would say perseverance has been a big part of it because real estate's hard. I mean, that's why I do this show. I started doing this show and Monday Mindsets because real estate is a very hard business. It's stressful. I've always said that people get into the business, they see agents like me that have been successful, and so they jump in thinking it's going to be easy. But even today, like in between, right before we started recording this, I'm working on a stressful deal right now. And as soon as we're done recording today, I have a meeting on a very stressful $2.7 million deal. And that's the thing, is that people don't see how much work goes into every transaction. And if you can't persevere, if you can't take the hard things and work through the hard things to see success, then you won't make it in the business. And I see so many people give up because it is such a hard business. I knew an agent that within the last year and a half quit the industry. He was making over $200,000 a year.
Whoa.
And he quit the industry because it was so hard and he felt like he had no life, which that's
crazy.
very easy to do in this
absolutely.
business. So I would say you have to learn perseverance.
Totally. I think that's great. Clip that for a social media clip.
Oh,
Tell, like,
okay,
Sarah
let's
in the
do it.
background. That
Yeah,
was
right.
really good. I was like, okay, I need to remember that. What's one limiting belief that you had to overcome in this industry? What's one limiting, something that put limitations on you that you've had to overcome in this ministry/industry?
Man, limiting belief. I would say one of the big limiting beliefs early on was a fear that I couldn't be successful talking to people, like that people wouldn't want to hear my or take my phone calls early on. And I did let that hinder me a lot.
Yeah.
I would spend a lot of time planning because I was afraid of picking up the phone and making the call. And I would say that was a limiting belief, that people didn't want to hear from me. But here's the crazy thing. Like when you do pick up the phone and you call someone that knows you, likes you, trusts you, where there's friendship, or at least where there's a relationship that they can see that you care about them, it's amazing the reaction on the other end of the line, but we're afraid to make those calls. And so that was early on. Now, I don't make a lot of calls now. There's not a lot of outgoing calls on my end. I make some here and there, and I do a lot of follow-up type stuff, but I'm not pounding the phone all day because my business has changed to where the calls come into me. However, if you can get over that early on fear of, in general, talking to people, then you can be successful.
That's great. Success, right?
Yep.
That leads me into my next question, which is so good. That was great. A great way to tie that up. What does success look like for you now compared to when you started?
Well, when I started, I was trying to make a living. I came in, I didn't have a lot of savings, like I've already said. I wish I had. And as I look back, I wanted to keep the deal together because I needed that paycheck. Now I don't pay. I do pay attention. Like I use Lofty. I put every transaction into Lofty. I can see how much I have set to close, but I never count on that commission.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean that I don't need it. Like I still sell and I still count on those sales for my personal living. Okay. But the thing is that I'm more concerned with my clients getting what they need than me getting what I need.
That's good.
Right? And what I found is that by doing that, by putting other people's needs first, then I'm always taken care of. I'm always provided for. And the other thing too, success for me now, like especially in this this arena, this podcast arena where I go and speak and I coach.
Yeah.
Success for me is seeing other people to be successful.
That's awesome.
So,
wow. I love it. How do you stay motivated when business slows down?
that's a hard one. That is, because honestly, it's sometimes you're just like crawling by, and you're like, you have to fight through. And so I think what really most important thing I could say is, if you do things right, business will slow down, but it shouldn't slow down much. What happens in the business though, and what I'm great at this, I get super busy and I stop doing the stuff that generates new business.
There you go.
And so because of that, there's these cycles like spring, I'm super busy, but I'm not doing anything to generate business. So middle of the summer, I hit this lull, right? So then it's like, oh man, I better get some business going. And I start pounding the phones, right? Or I start following up on stuff, or I send out mailers, I do my emails. Like I start doing the stuff again, and then business picks up again, and fall is great.
Yep.
But then winter is super slow because in the fall, I wasn't doing the things to generate the business. So here's the thing. One, if you are slow, do the stuff.
Yeah.
You just got to do the stuff. Like do the work, work through the things that you should be doing daily, weekly, and monthly. And if you do those things, you'll have slow seasons, but the slow seasons won't be so painful.
That's good. That's good.
Cool. Man, we are at like 15 minutes here. We're almost to our time limit, but we're going. How many questions are we through?
What? I think I'm going to ask a couple more questions, and then we should do a second.
I think we should. Okay, let's do it.
Okay, here we go. What is the number one skill every real estate agent should master? I know what you're going to say.
Oh man, you do?
Uh-huh. I do.
The skill every real estate. Now I feel like I'm being quizzed instead of questioned.
Well, I know what it is because you talk about it a lot.
Well, I think the number one skill you need to master is conversation with people.
Oh, that's not what
Is that a different area? Okay, I'm curious to hear what you say,
okay,
but let me tell you why. Here's the thing. This is a relationship business.
In my brain, we're going to
This is a relationship business.
Yeah.
If you can master building relationships, if you can master that skill, and it is a skill because there are people out there that they don't know how to, meet someone and engage them and, make them feel like they're truly a human being and cared about as opposed to being a lead, right? They're just a lead. No, they're not a lead. They're a real family,
person.
Real dreams. Yep. Right. So I think you have to learn the art of having conversation with people. I teach the Ford model. So that's where you talk about family, occupation, recreation, dreams. But the thing is I don't think about the Ford model. I naturally do it now because I've become skilled at having conversations with people and I genuinely care about people.
Yeah.
So if you genuinely care about people, you become great at having conversation with people, and that will always lead to business. So
that's
what I thought. Okay, but it's a
master.
very important skill because if you can't build relationships, you can't be successful.
Anything.
But what did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say negotiation.
I think it's a very important skill. But let me tell you.
You talk about negotiation a lot.
I do talk about negotiation.
In all of your classes and everything that you teach, you talk about you need to take a negotiation class.
Yes, I do. Now, let me tell you, when I tell a client about negotiation, I tell them it's just a conversation. No joke.
There you go. Okay.
It's exactly how I do it. It's just a conversation.
That's so funny.
We're going to open the conversation, right? Or they open the conversation.
Yep.
We're just going to respond back.
We're just going to keep going.
It's like normal human interaction, right?
It's like Pong, game that you used to play.
That's it.
You used to play. I didn't really play it.
I didn't really play it either. No, I wasn't much of a video game guy, but
I feel like your age is probably more like Pong. You said your age.
I did say my age.
I wasn't going to ask you. That was
I know, because I was getting that out on the table, but my concern is that you're comfortable enough to ask me my weight, right? No, I'm just kidding. No, so that said,
so funny.
Negotiation very important.
Yes.
But that's a conversation. And when you are negotiating, good negotiators, they do it in conversation anyway. They're calling the other agent and they're having that conversation. If you're negotiating with a client, because we do have to negotiate with our own clients, it's a conversation. Being good at conversation is important.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. That was easy.
Yep.
I'm going to do one more, and then we'll go to the next episode.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
What's your top priority every day as a working agent? And I think this is a good one to end with for this section because people can take this, start doing this week, and then come back.
Yep.
But every day, what is your top priority?
So I think every day you have to be talking to people.
Yeah.
That's if you want to be successful, you have to do the things that will lead to future business, and that requires talking to people or building relationships with people. Now, that can be, in today's world, there's a lot of ways we can do it that we weren't using when I started in the business in 2006. We weren't emailing people a lot. We were using email, but we weren't using it as our primary marketing method or a marketing method. We were not texting people when I first got into the business, right? So I think using texting, I've got a good friend. She texts 5 people every day.
Yeah.
Great thing. Just check in on people, right? Build relationships with people. Call people today, right? If you think of somebody, instead of putting it off to reach out to them, if you think of them, if they cross your mind, just call them right there and say, you know what? You crossed my mind today, and I thought, I haven't talked to you in a while. I better call and see how you're doing.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing? Right? They're not going to be like, I don't want to talk to you. right? That's not how relationships work.
Yeah.
So text people, call people, send out emails. I use video email. I know I talk a lot about video email, right? So I'll send out a video email to someone. Hey guys,
But it works really great
I was
for you.
just thinking
That's
about
why
you.
you talk about it a
That's
lot.
right. I
Yeah.
do. It does work well. So that said, every day, if you're gonna be successful, I say block the time, specific time where you're working on business building activities, which has to do with building relationships, talking to people.
Yeah. Well, I feel like a key theme this whole time, these 10 questions for the start, has been relationships.
Yep, it is.
And since you started, it started with your relationship with your dad and him continuing relationships with others,
Yep.
you building relationships with clients, you continuing to build and connect. And every time it's a slow season or something, it's because you've lacked your connection. You've
That's true.
lacked building those relationships.
That's a great way to put it. It's true. That's
Yeah.
absolutely right. It's when I stop the relationship building effort that things slow down.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a great
Awesome.
episode. I
It
love
was.
this. This was awesome. I'm ready for round 2, us being able to talk about this next time. And tune back in with us next week, and it's going to be a great episode. We'll see you then. Bye,
All right.
guys.
See ya.